Welcome to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. And now here's your host, Wade T. Lightheart.
What if you could double your energy naturally without caffeine or stimulants in just 3 short months? It's not only possible, you can transform every aspect of your health if you follow the 12-week blueprint we've created for you in the Awesome Health System. The Awesome Health System is a free course where you receive a daily video lesson spanning the most cutting-edge secrets for air, water, exercise, sunshine, optimizers, mindset, and education. It's something most companies would charge hundreds of dollars for, yet you get it for free when you go to Bioptimizers.com. To access your course, register to download the PDF report called 3 Phases of Bioptimization, which gets you access to the report and daily access to the first lesson in the 12-week, 84-day Awesome Health course.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's Wade T. Lightheart from Bioptimizers with another edition of the Awesome Health Podcast. And today I've got an amazing story to share with you. Our guest today, who literally started her weight loss and health journey as a teenage mom at 280 pounds, but way back in 2006. Imagine that, that's called morbidly obese. And the outcomes of success for people at that age is very small. Not because it's not possible, but I think because most people actually give up hope in the idea that they can ever achieve a healthy weight. Now, here's the great part. She has transformed herself and her life and is inspiring others. She's maintained her goal weight since 2008, moved to Canada. She's from Ireland originally. Worked with hundreds of women and men, changed lives, and now practices as a nutritional and hormone therapist out of Airdrie, Alberta. She specializes in body fat loss, nutrition as a health therapy, and bioidentical hormone therapy for symptoms of PMS, perimenopause, and a whole lot more. So I would like for all of us to welcome Chemaine Linnie to our podcast. I was on her show just recently, and I said, I really want to tell your story here. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wade. It's great to be with you again.
Yeah. So before we get into the hormonal and perimenopause stuff, which is a big issue right now, running rampant through the population, especially with a lot of women who maybe wanted to have kids late or children late because of career opportunities, or they've maintained a fit lifestyle and all of a sudden it's collapsing because of hormonal distress, etc. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to go back in your journey because it's an amazing transformational journey. And I want to share that with our listeners as an element of hope and possibility that they could do this too if they get the right stuff. So how did you get to 280 pounds?
Oh man, it was a compounding effect from many different angles. So, we've spoken. I grew up in Dublin, Ireland. Back then, it seems like it was only yesterday, but when you put it in the context, it was 2006. You're like, man, that was like almost 20 years ago. It's crazy. Things were quite different back then. I think Ireland was a bit behind in the game of health and fitness back then, whereas Canada and America are a bit more ahead in understanding what was the correct approach to take. So what got me in that position in the first place, to be honest, it was ill education. There's just no education at all, not from the schools, not from my peers, but also my family. I'm a big believer in the children are a reflection of how they were brought up. Like the mother and father is responsible. That's what I stand by. I know people think differently. I'm not trying to point the finger at anyone, but my parents were not educated in the realms of obviously nutrition. But apart from that, just like what you shouldn't do, we would get we call it takeaway in Ireland, so you call it takeout. We get takeaway regularly, sometimes twice a day. I kind of joke now, and people, my sister, they'll still make fun of me. Like, one of the reasons that I got so overweight was I would eat pizza, like a whole pizza, but I would put mayonnaise all over the pizza as well. So it wasn't just the pizza, it was the mayonnaise as well. So there's a big compounding effect. And then you've got the bullying aspect and not having the support, not having the family support, which then spiraled me into eating even more and then feeling the aches and pains. And just I was using it as a comfort, as an escape. Though I was driving out late in the evenings and going and getting takeout at like late when nobody could see me. It was just all these habits that I had formed, which me and you both know now, to be successful and healthy, you need to create other habits in the opposite direction. But I had a lot of bad habits, and there was a lot of avoidance of society because every time I stepped out of the house, I was being made fun of. I was being bullied. And so I'd stay up late, watch TV, sleep during the day when nobody could see me. And it was a bad place. It was a really bad place. And you see now, a lot of teenagers are in that position with not just like the takeout, but avoiding society and staying all day on computer games. Now, I wasn't playing computer games, but I can see a lot of similarities. And then also the mental health repercussions that we're seeing as well. So, although it was 20 years ago, there's certain things that I see repeated nowadays in young people that would be in the same age that I was back then.
What was the turning point for you? What was the point where you said, okay, I'm done with this, I'm going in another direction? What happened?
This is like, to me, obviously, this is quite powerful what I'm supposed to say because this was my turning point. This is what created the fire in my belly. This was my rock bottom. And I know not everyone agrees, but I firmly believe that a lot of people need to hit rock bottom to say, that's it, I'm never going back, I'm going to move forward. So my sister was having a birthday party and I was overweight and I managed to find a dress. But of course, as the night went on with alcohol consumption, the food, I got very swollen and inflamed. So by the end of the night, I couldn't get out of this dress. So my friends and my sisters had to take a scissors to the back of the dress and completely just like cut it down to get me out of the dress. So that was an upsetting and embarrassing moment in itself. And I think my sister at that stage realized she needed to try help me. So then she kind of had said a few days later, hey, me and my friend, we're going to Weight Watchers to check it out. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, okay, well, I kind of knew at that stage that I needed help, but I didn't know what to expect. And back then, we didn't have a scale in our house. I didn't know what weight I was. I mean, we see ourselves in the mirror. I knew I was overweight, but I didn't know how bad it was. Nobody had sat me down and said, hey, you're this weight, these are the issues, this is how it's affecting your mental health, this is your potential outcome if you don't get a hold on this. There was none of that. All I knew was I was overweight, I lived in baggy clothes, this was just me. So I did go to Weight Watchers, and this was where my life changed forever and ever. I stood on the scale. I didn't know what weight I was. I was 280 pounds. And again, when the Weight Watchers leader told me that, there was another moment of upset and embarrassment. I just didn't understand, like, how did I even get here? Like, I can't believe I'm so heavy. That kind of drove it home. I was bigger than everybody else. And put in context, wait, I'm only 5'5", so I'm not tall. Like, I don't carry that much weight very well. I look way bigger. And I went home that night and I cried and I cried. And I've always had somewhat of a relationship with God. And as you mentioned, I had a new baby at the time. I was a teenage mom. So this was rock bottom for me. I was already being bullied. I was already being told I was a loser. Now I've ruined my life having a child so young. I was still living at home. There was no light at the end of the tunnel for me. And that was it. I destroyed my life. And I remember crying in bed that night and just saying to God, God, this is it. Like, I'm never going back. I'm going to change now for my baby, for myself, so we can have a better life. And I just made a promise that I would never go back. Never, ever, ever. So I took the few little tips they gave me in the first week. They don't give you a lot, so just try this out. First week, I lost 8 pounds. Me and you both know, like, some of that's going to be inflammation of fluid, but it was enough, as it is for women nowadays, to motivate me to keep going and keep going,
Hmm.
going. And before I knew it, I had found God had hidden a gift in me that I didn't know was there. I had to dig it out, and here I am today, still maintaining.
And how long did that process take you?
A year and a half. I was so motivated. I hit my goal weight. So I started Weight Watchers 2006 July. The exact date was July 6th. And then I hit my goal weight, which was 120. It was a little bit lower than what I am now. And I hit the goal weight March 2008. So just about a year and a half. Like, I was on fire. There was no holding. Once I kind of got the momentum going and I discovered a new me, that was it. There was no stopping me after that. Because like bodybuilding, I started to build character and realize what I was capable of doing.
Yeah, that's so basically, I mean, you lost over half your body weight in a year and a half.
I lost Kylie Minogue. That's what I said, because they make you stand on the stage to celebrate. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I just lost like more than Kylie Minogue weighs.
How did that transform your life in both self-view, your relationships, how you thought about career opportunities? Of what changed with that radical transformation?
The biggest change was confidence. Confidence all the way. Between confidence and what I could wear, like on the superficial level, on what I could wear. And even now, because I was so big, and I'm completely transparent with this, I still have some loose skin, I still have some stretch marks. But my confidence in what I'll wear now compared to hiding myself in my brother's clothes or that changed. How I show up, that completely changed. The confidence in the self-belief I have, like, it never would have been there had I not shown up for myself. And now I'm living the dream life in Canada. I have two sons, my husband, we vacate. Like, I am living the dream life now, and it all comes back to confidence. I always laugh, I'm like, I can walk into any gym now, and I don't care how buff or built or big you are, you will not intimidate me, because I know what I'm capable of. I have built so much confidence in myself. And yeah, there's the Irish spunk there as well. But that's number one, it's confidence. How I talk to people, my self-belief, my self-trust. Most people don't trust themselves. I'll trust myself to an extent. Now, don't tempt me with any Purdy's chocolates or anything, but I'm pretty good when it comes to trusting my own ability. It's all the confidence. It's the wearing the nice clothes and all. It's a bonus. It's nice, but it's how you feel about yourself on the inside, and that really, it's all on you. Your happiness, your results, your life, how you choose to live, it's all on you. And that's what I learned, because before all this, I almost felt like I had no control. It wasn't me, it was everybody else's fault. I didn't know any better, and now I know.
Powerful. It's powerful in the transformation. So then when did you make the transition that you yourself was going to start helping people on the fitness journey?
My dad was, we lead by example as parents. My dad was always into weightlifting and bodybuilding, and so I always saw it. And at the time, I didn't know it was being ingrained in me. What we see, we'll eventually replicate. And as I got into the losing the weight, I started really simple with doing a little bit of dance aerobics here and there, And then I did a bit more, and then I started to notice I have a knack for this. So I started lifting whatever weights were lying around. And then I was like, I'm actually might be pretty good at this, because people were saying, "Oh my God, you look so different. What do you do? Can you help me?" So they were asking for my advice, and I was like, maybe I have a knack for this. So then in Ireland, I ended up then transitioning into, I'm happy to admit, I first transitioned into step aerobics. Like, I loved aerobics. And then I transitioned into personal training. So I got my degree in the University of Limerick. And then it kept going and going. And I wanted to know more. And people were benefiting from what I had to say. So like we spoke about offline, I don't want fame, I don't want celebrity. I want to make a difference and be, as cliche as it sounds, at the end of my days, when I'm standing at the pearly gates, I want to know that I left a mark on the world. I made a difference. I wasn't just here taking up space. I was really helping people. And it just spirals and spirals. And then all of a sudden, 2 years ago, I get a call from Dr. Michael Platt's office. So, Dr. Michael Platt, one of the pioneers in progesterone therapy, saying, "Hey, how would you like Dr. Platt to mentor you in hormone therapy?" And I'm like, Are you are you for real? Like, I'm just a nobody from Dublin. Like, and now I have all, it's insane. It's all just flipped. So here I am.
Yeah, it's incredible how a story starts out oftentimes in adversity and then leads to transformation and then ultimately to inspiration. And it's a wonderful journey to be able to take that on step by step, piece by piece, and become the person you are today. And contribution is one of the reasons we started Bioptimizers. Matt and I, we were personal trainers, and we fell in love with helping people get healthier and fitter, and all of the elements that came with that, confidence and stuff. And then later on, um, we realized we had a ceiling, and we built a company so that we could continue to do that. And that's where we started 21 years ago. So it never changes. It's just that sense of I always think it's remarkable how there's something that goes on biochemically inside of us when we help somebody else overcome a challenge. So I always go, what is that? Obviously, there's some connective element into the whole human being that is registered in how we feel. That's, which is really powerful. And I think people who embrace that as their life mission in whatever they do have a high quality, happy life.
Mhm.
Feel that sense of contribution, that sense of purpose, the sense of connection. All of these really hyper oxytocin producing chemicals come into
Yeah.
them, and then they're like, wow, life has meaning and purpose and function. And you don't discover it unless you go through obstacles. But now you're coaching other people. What are some of the things that you've noticed in today's world that are tripping people up, or they're having challenges overcoming, that you specifically address?
You know, I think I can very much relate to what I'm about to say, because I felt it, and this was back to me being at rock bottom, crying in my room, hiding away from people. I was so, so, so unhappy. Like, I feel it so deeply in me now that I can't explain in words what it feels like to be so unhappy. And I think a lot of society right now is really affected by unhappiness, and I think that's what's driving a lot of choices. People are so unhappy. And then when they can get that quick dopamine hit from whatever it is, some VR game, drugs, food, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, that's a little bit of release from that unhappiness. And I've asked a lot of practitioners on my podcast, like, why do you think people give up on themselves so easy? And on what I keep circling back to all the time is people are very, very unhappy. And that's driving their choices. And I would also add in there's an element of loneliness there, which, of course, if you're at home all the day isolating from other people, and we could kind of talk about, I suppose, what COVID did to us and all that, that we've lost our connection to life. I'm not going to be cliche and say we've lost our connection to other people or Mother Earth or nature or anything like that. We've lost our connection to life, to what it means to be human and alive and living. How many people are living nowadays? They're not getting up. They're not smiling. They're not getting sunshine. They're not living with purpose. They're mundane with the same activities, the same negative thoughts. They're not going on adventures. They're not surrounding themselves with people who just laugh and joke, which is a big Irish thing. And you've got it from my personality. We just go with the flow. We laugh and joke. But I'm not seeing that anymore. We forgot how to live, and it's sad because it's making everybody unhappy, and therefore we're going for the dopamine hit wherever that comes from.
Yeah, I think that's very astute. You get into the science and neurochemistry, and we have become a hyper dopamine driven world. And dopamine was generally a reward system for the development of skills that were based in survival. But now you can get dopamine hits from just about anything that has nothing to do that's going to advance your life. In fact, it's probably the other way around. And the more that you don't have that internal sense of connection with life, the more likely or the more at risk you are to fall into the trap of all of these illusionary elements that give you a short hit, but then you need more of it or bigger amounts of it, etc. And it leads you down the road. And of course, for a lot of people, that leads to obesity, overweight, and all the comorbidities that go with that. And then you're on a cycle of meds and surgeries and, compromised life and stuff. And our goal of the podcast here is to shift that possibility. So if you're listening out there, folks, and you're in one of those states, there is hope. And Chemaine is a great example of, you can be really in a bad space, but if you take responsibility, you get a little education, and then you apply it and keep learning and keep growing, it's amazing what you can do. And your worst moment might end up being your most inspirational aspect that will connect you with other people. With your work today, how does your coaching program work? How do you work with people? How do they find you? What's all that story? How did that emerge after you did all this elements and people were kind of hitting you up left, right, and center? What are you doing? How did you get to this? All that sort of stuff. How did that transform into its current form?
So in Ireland, it was a bit easier because I knew a lot of people. I had connections. The school sets you up with connections. I got a contract with a prenatal company, and we would do prenatal boot camps and stuff. So that was easy. The challenge was when I moved to Canada and I didn't know anyone, and I had literally a new baby. My baby was 12 months and my son was 8 at the time. I knew nobody. I just knew this was my calling. And I joke about it now, but I stand by this. I think being Irish has its advantages. Um, People are attracted to the Irish charm, and that's where I started getting popular. I can talk to people again, the confidence. I could sell paint to a wall, as they say. And
It's really
then
good.
I did get a job in a local gym, so people started to recognize me. And then I hired a business coach, and I really put it down to, Wade, it's the confidence. Had I not got this confidence, and there's a huge aspect of confidence in being a successful business person, like it's one of the key requirements, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Because how many people do me and you know that enter into the fitness world thinking they're going to make their millions, and they're gone a few months later because they just can't hack it? Like, it's a tough industry. But
It is. It is a tough industry, but it's a rewarding industry. And
it
so
is. It is. If you can suck it up and keep going, and if you have that something extra special about you, then I think that's kind of the winning factor there. But I ended up amassing this following, because where I am now is just north of Calgary. When I first moved here, it was 60,000 people. Now it's over 100,000. But because I had laid the foundation, I'm tooting my own horn here, but I'm still the number one in this field in this city. So I built a following, and it just spiraled after that. And people trust me, and I really, really do not take that for granted. I'm very grateful people trust me, and I do my best to help people. One thing I noticed is a huge difference in the Irish healthcare medical system compared to the Canada medical system, which universal healthcare here, which means pretty much nothing. Like, some people benefit from it, the majority of us don't. Whereas in Europe, especially Ireland, I had the same doctor all my life. He knew everything about both of my pregnancies. He knew about my weight challenges. He knew everything. He sat with me sometimes for an hour. Like, he knew my whole family. It was very different than whenever I wanted like female stuff taken care of. They had a female doctor that I would go and see, but she also knew everything about me. It was a community. Whereas here, I don't even know who's doing what anymore. Like, there's no connection. So I noticed that my presence was able to help kind of build a bridge there and kind of help people with answers. So like you said, to help them take responsibility and not just be dependent on external factors all the time or other people to help them.
Yeah, there's power in coming from what I would call a small place, and because there is a sense of community that's a requisite of living in those environments, especially if they're suboptimal. And there's social cues and elements that you pick up that I think when you take it out into the big wide world is very marketable. And yes, no doubt, the Irish charm is very present. I just want to start developing an Irish accent as soon as I talk to you. It's hilarious. But there's something about the phonetics and tones, I think, of the Irish language is very attractive to English speakers.
Mm.
And some of the allegory and storytelling, which the Irish is famous for. And marketing today is a lot about storytelling. And the difference in success for people, I think, is can you not just tell a story, but is what's under the story, the underlying lessons, are they true? And obviously, you know that they're true because you've experienced them and lived them out in your real life. And that is a very potent combination.
I think it's really, really, really important. And it is becoming more common, but that we as practitioners, we practice what we preach. We have to lead by example. I've been always transparent. Like, I'm very muscular now because when I lost all the weight, I looked like a coat hanger with skin, because nobody had told me what happens when you lose a lot of weight very fast. So I've spent 20 years just building and building and building, and I look very different now. But in saying that, there's a huge difference between a girl who was obese and lost all the weight and then had to build the muscle to a girl who was just slim and built muscle. Like, we're very different. There's different requirements there. There's different understandings, and there's different emotional elements. Like, we're not the same creature at all. And I think that's very relatable to the people who follow me. They know I've been there, I've done that. Oh, what, you want to see my loose skin or my stretch marks? Okay, I'll show you. I can show you the pictures. Like, the proof is in the pudding, and people want that. But also, I think there's an element, again, back to being Irish, I think maybe it's something in our genetics. We just can't BS people. It's just like, you're gonna hear it whether you like it or not. And people want that now. They're like, I don't want to be lied to anymore. I don't want anyone to BS me. Just be honest with me, get me results, keep me on track, hold me accountable. That's what people are looking for.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
At Bioptimizers, our mission is to fix digestion. And a cornerstone of digestion is gut flora. P3OM is our patented probiotic formula. In fact, we call it the Navy SEALs of probiotics. You see, strong proteolytic or protein digesting activity is paramount to having a healthy gut flora. And of course, P3OM provides that. The good news is Unlike weaker probiotics, P3OM survives the digestion process. What it does is it basically multiplies the good guys while protecting you against pathogens, or what some people call the bad guys. P3OM really helps to rebuild your digestion. And what that allows you to do is to maximize nutrient uptake, energy, and metabolism. To find out more of how P3OM can help you, go to www.bioptimizers.com.
So you talked about hormonal premenopause, perimenopause. What are you seeing in your practice right now of people struggling in these areas? Obviously, you're dealing it from a female perspective. I'm assuming most of your clients are female.
Yeah, I still have some men that I deal with. A lot of husbands will listen to my podcasts, which is strange, but they do. I have a very good following. They've been with me. A lot of my clients have been with me since 2016, which is incredible. So as they aged, I had to move with them. I had to continue to learn how to help them, and not just like the weight loss and the other health optimizations, as we'd say, like the sleep, the blood pressure, the inflammation. It was a natural transition that I was to learn about hormones so I could continue to help not just my followers, but my community as a whole. The women who were here when I landed here in 2014, they're still here and they're getting older as I'm getting older. So I had to learn. The biggest obstacles I'm seeing now is stress. It's high adrenaline. It's adrenaline. It's not cortisol. Yeah, cortisol is present, but it's not cortisol the way people are perceiving it. Oh my God, I'm stressed. I have high cortisol. Or my naturopath told me I don't see that. I am seeing high adrenaline everywhere. And I know I have high adrenaline at times as well. I think most successful people do. But women are irritable, they're not sleeping, they've got rage, like serious rage where they're just like losing the plot or shouting at people randomly. They've no libido, they don't have any desire to be intimate. They've got the hot flashes, the night sweats, which we primarily try to associate to estrogen all the time. But the time after time, the research shows us, I'm sure you're aware of Dr. Geraldine Pryor out of University of BC over there in Vancouver. She's done several studies saying no, like these hot flashes and night sweats, it is not estrogen, it is adrenaline and progesterone. But women are experiencing massive amounts of adrenaline. Especially, I can't really speak for Ireland right now because I haven't been in that environment in a long time, but in Canada, the lifestyle is quite different here. It's just go, go, go. It's crazy. It's go, go, go. Women are trying to juggle hockey, ringette, basketball, getting their kids to the ring at 6 a.m., then getting them to school, then all weekend, because Canada's so big, they're driving from province to province. They have no downtime because they're in Ireland, you get dumped at the football field on a Saturday morning, see you later, and your parents would go off and do their own thing. Here, my clients especially, they're driving from Alberta to BC to Saskatchewan, like they've no weekends, they've no downtime, they're juggling careers, they're taking care of kids, then they feel guilty because I'm saying, you should take care of yourself better, or you need to manage your stress better. And that makes them feel even more guilty because they're like, how I'm trying to do everything. So then we've got this elevation in estrogen, the progesterone plummets, and the adrenaline just runs rampant. And what do most women who are not educated in this do? They'll go to their doctor, and the doctor's going to put them on either SSRIs or some sort of sleep medication. And this is it. This is where a lot of women are feeling there's no hope because they're not getting the help that they need. But if I was to say what's number one, it would be adrenaline, and I think it's not being recognized enough.
So what are some of the interventions that you're using when you've, say, identified someone who's in that, that zone of hormonal declination, and they're running on adrenaline and they've got the crazy lifestyle, and then like, Chemaine, I don't know what to do. I can't stop it, and nothing seems to work. What do you say to that client of yours who's stuck in
First,
this in the machine of the world that's grinding them up to bits.
my first step is to build trust in them, to show them what's possible. I always start with sleep. Always start with sleep. If you can show a woman or a man who thinks they don't sleep or they can't sleep or I've never been a good sleeper, if you can show them you actually can sleep, it's not that hard, you just haven't been doing the correct things, then they trust you and then they're willing to do the other stuff. So I'm always starting with sleep because that's really what's going to be interfered most with adrenaline. If we can push down that adrenaline before bed and get you into deep sleep, how much better do you feel the next morning? And if that continues on, then we have a beautiful ripple effect. Now you feel, oh my God, this is possible. I actually can sleep. Maybe I can make some good food choices. Maybe I can go for a walk today. I'm doing all of that before I bring in hormones. Like one of my favorite things to use, apart from Bioptimizers magnesium for sleep, is GABA. GABA in most people is a game changer. And not like 100 milligrams. Like people are like, I took 100, it did nothing. Come on, like most of us have such high adrenaline now. Most people need a minimum of 1,500 milligrams. We need a lot. But getting them to do that, a good strong evening routine, no TV before bed. You don't need TV before bed. None of us need TV before bed. Read a book. We need to get back to reading books. Just have a good evening routine. And if you can get people sleeping, it just changes everything. So that's my first step. Then, of course, there's the nutrition, really helping women understand the primary reason for night sweats and hot flashes is adrenaline dominance and blood sugar imbalances. That is number one. It is not what women think in regards to estrogen or hormones. Half of the time, if you can fix nutrition and help with the adrenaline at night in women, they don't get them anymore. And then, of course, as we move on and transition through ages of perimenopause, then most women benefit from bioidentical progesterone. It's our absolute safest hormone. I just spoke to Dr. Nayan Patel, and he's shared some instances where he was doing 2.5 grams of bioprogesterone. I'm generally starting people at 50 milligrams and then titrating up if I need to. But it's our safest, absolute safest hormone. I describe it as the hormone of vitality and sanity. It's the hormone that stops us killing our husbands when they're breathing. That's pretty much what it does.
No, that could be a bestseller. There, I think guys will start buying that for their wives. It's a security risk, man. It'll have to like, yeah, I think my wife
It's
wants to
so
kill me,
powerful.
so I'm just gonna hand her some.
I don't know if guys actually get it, but this is not just a joke. This is real. Like women in the height of perimenopause actually cannot listen to their husband's breathing. It sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Like it's horrible. It can physically hurt you. And that is that high adrenaline. And that's where we need to block that before somebody gets hurt. And that's where progesterone.
Reminds me of a story. I had a client years ago when I was a personal trainer, and I was very much a stickler for people showing up on time as part of their disciplinary actions. And he showed up one day 15 minutes late. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, this is not acceptable. And I was a real tough guy in those days with my clients. And he looked at me and he said to me with a straight face, "You have no idea what it's like to be married to a woman in the middle of menopause." And I guess some kerfuffle had broken out that morning or whatever. And I didn't really understand it. And then, years later, as I had gone through this, and I had certainly seen a lot of women clients of mine talk about that the intolerability that starts to cultivate. I didn't make the connection on that particular aspect with the adrenaline thing, but that's a very unique piece. And we see this also too with the man who loses testosterone. He just doesn't have his drive or zest for life anymore, and he just wants to sit and watch TV or whatever. He's done. And yeah, and then that becomes frustrating for a lady or whatever. It's like, well, why don't you go out and do something or be somewhere? And he's like, he's got no juice. So these hormones, where do you see this all going as part of the healthy lifestyle, weight maintenance, and I guess psychological and social maintenance for yourself? Because, you know, if your hormones are out of whack, there's a problem.
Well, first, I just want to add in like the research shows us that the majority of separations and divorce happen in that kind of age group of 40 to 55. You've got the woman who's just fed up with everything and super irritable. And then on the other end, you've got the man who's got no juice, but now all he sees is a wife who complains all the time and doesn't want to sleep with him. It's a recipe for disaster. And that's why we see the rates are so high in those age groups. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But if we can get things working properly, like at the very least, everyone would benefit from progesterone. Even men can benefit from it. That if we can get a woman feeling better, and we can get her move, in a sense she's feeling better, she's sleeping better, she's moving more, maybe she starts to lose weight, she's more motivated to make better choices. Now she's starting to feel more confident and sexy. Maybe now her libido increases, she wants to be intimate with her husband, and again that beautiful ripple effect. Now she's starting to live again. She's not just raising kids and having a career and losing her hair and her mind at the same time. She's actually living again. And we can hopefully keep the momentum going. Hormones are a huge factor. Like an absolute progesterone is the one hormone that plummets faster than all the others. It doesn't decline, it doesn't go down nice and gently. It plummets, it crashes really hard. And then women are left high and dry in the literal sense, and we just are not living anymore because we're miserable, and therefore everyone around us is also miserable.
Yes, isn't that the truth? Um, some great tips that are relatively novel. And so for our listeners, make sure you check out the podcast. We're going to wrap this up with some final words of encouragement about if someone's struggling with their weight, they're going through one of those conditions of, a descending hormonal cascade. What's your suggestion for them? And then afterwards, I want to wrap up with where can they find you, how that they can follow you, how that they can learn more, because I think that there's going to be some ladies here that want to jump on the Chemaine train.
There's, and my clients actually say BC, so not before Christ, but before Chemaine, and their life was very
That's great.
different.
That's great.
But like you got to start somewhere. You got to recognize Rome wasn't built in a day. I might have lost weight very fast, but I'm different. I'm a different creature. I came from a different environment. There's a lot to be considered, but you have to understand it takes time to make any changes. You should really start with sleep. You should always start with sleep, because if you're not sleeping, everything else goes to poop, as they say. You
Yep.
have to start with sleep. And then you take it one day at a time. Maybe you start adding in a 30-minute walk. And then you keep that going for a week, and then we'll increase it to 35. Maybe you start making better options at one meal, breakfast, prioritize protein, the end. So small implements, step by step, we're making little changes, we're making them into habits, we're consistent. Before you know it, if you lost a pound a week, if weight loss was your goal, for example, and you lost a pound a week, that's 52 pounds a year. And time flies. The older we get, the faster it goes by. Like before we know it, it's going to be Christmas. And then if you think that you might benefit from hormone therapy of some sort, you don't even have to reach out to me. Reach out to anyone. There's a lot of people. There's a big movement happening right now around women's hormones. Look for someone you relate to, someone that like intuitively feels genuine and good to you. Ask them for help. You'd be surprised. People are always surprised when I respond on Instagram. They're like, "Oh my God, you've responded," because most influencers, they don't. It's all automated. So then when you do respond, people are like, "Oh my gosh, I have access to someone." And then maybe that's the path you go down. But I really want to remind people, because people think, oh my God, if she can do it in a year and a half, I'm me, you're you. Rome wasn't built in a day, but Rome doesn't get built at all if you don't start somewhere. So you have to start.
Yeah, so find a coach that you can connect with, prioritize your protein in the morning, baby steps to keep going. And then if all that is in alignment, then hormone therapy might be an option for you. Where can people find you and connect with you, get on your podcast, your social media, all that sort of stuff?
I've been kind of moving a lot of people to my YouTube, so that's Chemaine's Model Health, and my podcast is on all the platforms. I'm pretty active on Facebook and Instagram, Chemaine's Model Health as well. Don't go to my website right now because someone hacked it the other day and it's still not back up and running, but otherwise I'm pretty accessible everywhere else.
Chemaine, you're a delight to have on the podcast, and your story is inspirational, practical, and deeply connective. And I do encourage anyone that's listening to the podcast that liked it, you can like and share it with a friend that you care about. And then, of course, you can see in the show notes, we have all the connections to Chemaine's social media handles so that you can follow along and get inspired, because you never know where the next step might take you. Chemaine, thank you for joining us today. And for all our listeners, thank you for joining us. I'm Wade T. Lightheart from the Awesome Health Podcast. Thank you for joining, and make your every day a better day. Thanks so much.
And now for a Bioptimizers fixed digestion tip, rapid cheat meal relief. Research shows that cheat meals can actually be an effective way to boost your metabolism. One key weight loss hormone, leptin, can be increased by up to 30% following a cheat meal. The challenge with the cheat meals is that all those extra calories and lower food quality can be hard to digest, which means you could be totally sidelined with a food coma after big cheat meals. The solution is to take strong digestive enzymes like masszymes, which will help rapidly digest and break down the extra food. 3 to 5 capsules before or right after your cheat meal can make a huge difference in how you feel following the cheat meal. If it's a cheat day with multiple large meals, you might want to go up to 10 capsules or higher to help you power through all that food. To save 10% on masszymes, go to masszymes.com. That's MASSZYMES.com and enter the code CHEAT10 at checkout.
Thank you for listening to the Bioptimizers Awesome Health Podcast. You can find more information at bioptimizers.com.